Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's jump right in. Today, we're taking a massive multi-billion-year journey to look at biogeology and coevolution. We're talking about the incredible story of how planet Earth and the life on it didn't just exist side by side, but actively shaped and transformed each other over eons. Seriously, it's the ultimate makeover story, how a harsh, barren rock floating in space became the vibrant, breathing biosphere we call home today.
So let's wind the clock way back to the Archean Eon. This is one of the earliest periods in Earth's history. Picture this, a violently active, completely oxygen-free world, totally dominated by erupting volcanoes. The crust was only just starting to cool down enough to form early oceans, and those oceans, well, they were filled with water delivered by asteroid impacts. It was this harsh, totally alien place that absolutely could not support life as we know it today.
Which brings us to a pretty compelling mystery. What exactly needed to happen to this barren, toxic rock for life to evolve? I mean, how do we get from a sea of magma and toxic gases to the lush, biodiverse ecosystems we rely on right now? Stick around with me for this explainer, because the answer is absolutely fascinating, and it really shows just how deeply interconnected everything around us truly is. To understand this whole transformation, we've got to grasp one core concept, and that is coevolution. In simple terms, coevolution is when two or more species affect one another's evolution. But here's the catch. We aren't just looking at this on a micro level, like a bird and a flower. Oh no, we're looking at this on a grand planetary scale.
Section 1. Earth's fiery beginnings and Earth's early years.
Right in the middle of that harsh environment we just talked about, life miraculously emerged. But get this, the earliest life didn't need oxygen at all. Around 3.7 billion years ago, the very first single-celled microbes evolved. They lived as single cells, or maybe small little clusters, and instead of oxygen, they actually used sulfur to survive. And we know this for sure because scientists found some incredible evidence. Tiny, tube-like granular structures containing carbon from these exact organisms, locked away inside 3.7 billion-year-old rocks in Greenland. Life was already finding a way, even in the absolute extremes of early Earth. Section 2. The Oxygen Revolution and Changing the Atmosphere. This is where the next major domino falls, and it's brought about by what might literally be the ultimate planetary engineers. We're talking about a bizarre little microbe called cyanobacteria. This was one of the earliest life forms that lived in water, and it completely radically changed the trajectory of our entire planet. The engine driving this massive planetary shift? Photosynthesis. Cyanobacteria were the very first photosynthesizers. They took in water, sunlight, and carbon dioxide to make their own food. But the absolute game changer is their byproduct, free oxygen. As these tiny microbes thrived and multiplied, this huge coevolutionary step pumped increasing amounts of oxygen straight into the atmosphere. They literally changed the air of the planet. They opened the door, making it possible for all other animals to eventually evolve.
The sheer scale of their impact is kind of mind-blowing. Take a look at these 2-billion-year-old rocks from Michigan. They prove that rising oxygen from those tiny bacteria didn't just change the atmosphere, it actually affected the geosphere too. The oxygen literally rusted the Earth's iron through chemical weathering, turning it into iron oxide. These banded iron formations, you can see those distinct red stripes of iron oxide, they are physical, undeniable proof that biological life permanently altered the solid rocks of our planet.
Section 3. From rocks to soil and creating habitats. So how do we get a lush, habitable land environment from just solid weathered rock? Well, it happens through the super slow, gradual creation of soil. First, physical weathering breaks down the rocks. Then, a really crucial biological step kicks in. Humus is added. Now, humus is just that dark organic matter that comes from decayed plants and animals. Finally, over a lot of time, a perfect mixture of minerals, air, water, and organic matter settles into distinct layers, which we call defined soil horizons. Let's break those horizons down really quick. The topmost layer is Horizon A, the topsoil. This is basically the VIP lounge, where most of the active soil formation happens. Right below that, we have Horizon B, the subsoil. That's where plant roots reach down deep to anchor themselves. And way down at the bottom is Horizon C, the substratum, which contains all those foundational rock materials and minerals. Without this exact, specific layered structure, our land biomes simply wouldn't exist.
Let's zoom in a bit for Section 4, Plant and Microbe Partnerships and Coevolution in the Soil.
The really key thing to grasp here is this incredible, invisible coevolutionary exchange happening right there in the topsoil. It's basically a perfect biological partnership. billions of soil microbes need very specific substances that plant roots produce, things like sugars. In return, those same microbes break down chemicals and release nutrients that the plants absolutely need to survive, especially nitrogen. So plants and soil microbes co-evolve together. It's this beautiful, intricate system of mutual reliance.
Section 5. Coral reefs in crisis, a modern example.
Now, let's look at the stark contrast a healthy coevolutionary relationship makes in the ocean. A vibrant, thriving coral reef heavily relies on microbes, specifically algae, to produce oxygen and remove waste. Together, they create these unbelievably biodiverse ecosystems, and they even support the geosphere by protecting our coastlines from storm and wave erosion. But when global temperatures rise, the stressed coral polyps are actually forced to expel their crucial algae partners. This is what causes coral bleaching. It leaves them stark white and highly susceptible to disease and death. To put the sheer resilience of these structures into perspective, think about the Great Barrier Reef off the coast of Australia. It's the world's largest living structure, and it is incredibly tough. I mean, it has survived extinction 5 separate times in the past 30,000 years. But modern, rapid global warming severely threatens it today. These warmer global temperatures are disrupting a delicate coevolutionary partnership that took literally millions of years to build. It's a huge reminder of just how sensitive biodiversity is to rapid abiotic fluctuations.
Zooming back out for Section 6, the interconnected spheres and Earth's dynamic machine. Our entire planet operates through 4 main spheres that are continuously interacting in this massive, delicate feedback loop. You've got the atmosphere, the air, which provides necessary gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide, while also moving heat and water vapor. Then there's the hydrosphere, the water, which supports all living things, carries nutrients, and literally carves and shapes the land. The biosphere is all living things, the plants, the animals, and the microbes holding the soil together and releasing oxygen. And finally, the geosphere, the land, providing the foundational soil, minerals, and habitats. Even something like air temperature plays a role here. Water changes temperature way more slowly than land, which keeps coastal areas cooler in the summer and warmer in the winter. Every single sphere dynamically affects the others, and that ultimately dictates everything from the weather you experience to the food you eat.
So the major takeaway here is this essential equation. Air plus water plus land equals our life support system. The physical spheres provide everything necessary for life to emerge and thrive in the first place. But, as we've seen throughout this explainer, from those very first sulfur-eating microbes to the cyanobacteria rusting the rocks and pumping out oxygen, life in turn continuously re-engineers the Earth right back.
We've seen exactly how a barren volcanic rock transformed into a lush, breathing planet through billions of years of coevolution. But that brings us to a final, pretty profound question to ponder. If living things change the Earth, how will our rapidly changing Earth shape the future of life? The scale, the immense responsibility, and the deep interconnectedness of our fragile planetary home are just staggering. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through Earth's living story. Keep asking questions and keep exploring.